Here we are again, talking about Eustass Captain Kid. The last time I really made a video about Kid was after that chapter where Luffy somehow stole the spotlight, where Luffy basically saved his life, and Kid in turn speared Luffy and went off into the sunset. I think this moment was significant and very important because it gave me an idea of where Oda was going with Kid's character. Because for me, I say this all the time, I'm not a huge Kid fan. I think he's a cool character. I think he serves a purpose in the story. But as far as one of my favorites, he's just not there yet because he hasn't done anything significant. Well, at least on screen. Kid is one of those characters in the story that you have to believe what you hear as opposed to what you've seen. And from interacting with so many people in the community, quite frankly, they're tired of it. They want to see what Kid can do. But let's take it back. Why am I talking about Kid right now? Why is Kid's disappointment a topic of conversation? Some people may be saying, well, I don't think Kid has been disappointing. I think he's been fine. He's been living up to whatever expectations I had of him. Well, let me ask you this question. How high were those expectations? Have they changed? Have you lowered his ceiling? What do you feel about Kid now? Now, it's no secret. My end game for Kid, if things were to play out the way I see it, in theory, if the Yonko system were to continue, Kid would have a straight line to becoming a Yonko. But there is the caveat of we probably won't make it that far, and the story will end before another Yonko is crowned. Reason being the time left in the story, also the steps to become a Yonko officially, territory, the world government's involvement, propaganda, etc., etc. There's a lot to go along with there, and I don't think there's that much time left in the story for them to announce Kid as the next Yonko. Maybe as a Yonko candidate, post Wano, he will get some recognition, but we're not there yet. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You may be watching this video right now and haven't realized that you're not subscribed. Now is the time to do so, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, drop a like because that helps as well. Now let's continue. So back then, upon Kid's introduction, there was already a negative connotation. And the reason why I'm bringing up this negative connotation now is because of just how many people I see really do not like Kid as a character, or at the moment, they don't have great expectations for him. The negative connotation I'm talking about is the fact that Kid, of course, he had a higher bounty than Luffy, but there was a caveat of him having a higher bounty because he killed civilians. Now, people mistakenly all the time try to associate Kid's killing of civilians to his bounty solely, where they say, well, Kid wasn't even stronger than Luffy, he just killed civilians. The only reason why his bounty was high was because of killing civilians. When, au contraire, that's the reason why it was higher than Luffy's. Kid's bounty is high because he is indeed strong. Kid as a character, of course, there's more to be desired there because we haven't seen that much of him, but from what we've seen, there's an inkling of depth. Because typically from a character of Kid's archetype, the edgy antagonist that does everything completely opposite of the main character and is always seemingly unaware of repercussions, where it seems like he's just doing things just to do them, almost like a soldier of anarchy, an agent of chaos, some would say. That's cuter. For Kid, he's well aware of what he's doing. He's well aware of the side that he's on, and the things that he does is evil. But I think like most people, we seem to always have justifications for things. You ever did something questionable? And sometimes before blaming yourself, you immediately try to find a justification for why you did it, because there's no way I would do this unless this occurred, right? We all have had situations like that, because blame is a very difficult opponent to face, and typically you have to look in the mirror to do so. And a lot of people don't like looking in the mirror. However, that's not what we're talking about. But one thing about Kid, he's aware of the world. He knows how the world works, how the world operates. And for him, as bad as the world views his actions, he compounds it as being minuscule in comparison to the celestial dragons. Is he wrong? Not necessarily, but the things that he's doing, they're still hella evil. Killing civilians is not a good thing. So as a pirate, you respect him, but as a character, I need some more. For Killer, there's nothing there. He has a mask. We've recently come to know his face. He's the brains of the operation. That is cool, but some backstory would be nice. Oda gave us some of it and told us that Kid and Killer, they grew up together, etc., etc., but we need some more from them before we can connect. And I think that's the main issue. We haven't connected to Kid. There was a moment in which I felt like we could have done it. After Luffy saved Kid, after Kid speared Luffy, when he left Udon. Personally, I felt like that was an opportunity for us to follow Kid and learn some more about him, learn some more about his connection to Killer, learn some more about the rest of his crew. And unfortunately, we did not get that. This could definitely still happen this arc because there's a lot of arc left, but that would have been the perfect time for us to connect with a character that hasn't had a connecting moment in the series thus far. So one, we haven't connected with Kid. And this is something I've also said before, the supernova that Oda had the most plans for, other than Luffy and Zoro obviously, is Kid. But Law, he became a fan favorite. People connected with Law. Why do you think that is? Well, Law himself is edgy, but Law has very endearing qualities. But the thing is, Law has been with us for so long. What he's done for our pirate king, Luffy, he saved his life. So honestly, for that, sometimes I feel like I'm indebted to Law. Like, Law, you saved Luffy, what do you want now, right? And then his interactions with the Straw Hats, they're gold. And as a character, I think he's phenomenal. And not to mention his amazing backstory that some people view as the best in One Piece. Personally, for me, the Nico Robin backstory really hit me. But Law's backstory was insane. So again, we connected with that character. When are we going to connect with Kid? But the conversation around Kid has been, let's see something, stop telling us. And Oda throughout the story has been telling us what Kid has been doing. Caribou actually echoed the sentiments of what we've been saying. Like, okay, we've heard this and we've heard this. Like, what am I to believe? I'm gonna believe that you continuously took L's. And then Oda kind of used Kid to clear up some of these things. So from that, we draw speculation. Who was the commander he injured? Who took his arm from Shanks' crew? What caused him to do that? How did his first fight go against Kaido? Did he get one shot as well? I mean, he did have Killer fighting with him. So again, moments like this, you try to justify some of these things, but some people are going to judge on the lower end of the spectrum and say, well, you got demolished. Everything about Kid is an L. And some people are going to scale up saying, well, he didn't get one-shotted. He probably injured Katakuri. I don't believe that. And then the only person that could have taken his arm was Shanks. So for Kid, you have to understand why there's so much contention about his character. In the recent chapter, and spoiler alert, if you haven't read chapter 1001, please go do so before you continue, Kid seems to have no knowledge of Rio, which personally I don't think is a bad thing. A lot of people were speculating that he should have Rio or should have learned about Rio, but I didn't see any issue with him not knowing it. Rio, again, a very complicated topic because in Wano it means hockey, but when I mention Rio, for people that are new or people that are just watching and don't pay attention to when I say things sometimes, when I say Rio, I'm referencing advanced armament. And for Kid, he does not know what that is. Zoro got some indication of it, and for Luffy, he's been directly trained by people who have learned that technique. For Kid, he went directly into the new world, doesn't have a sensei. Luffy's had 2 senseis who's known it, but I think Oda is establishing something important here. There's more than one way to skin a cat. For Luffy, his devil fruit is pretty straightforward. He's rubber. At the end of the day, he's going to be a brawler. Honestly, Luffy's devil fruit does not have the potential or the ceiling of Law's and Kid's. So for Luffy, the other things, they have to be a bit better than Law and Kid. For Law, he says he's going to destroy Kaido from the inside. For Kid, he says he's going to crush Kaido. For Luffy, he's going to have to pummel Kaido because he's a brawler, and that's what he does. If One Piece has taught us anything, it's that things are going to be different, and we cannot expect for Kid and Law to be able to hurt Kaido in the same exact way as Luffy does it. They don't fight the same way that Luffy does. So for Kid trying to crush Kaido, it's not a terrible idea. He has metal. He has to use what he can. Now, I predict that Kid still has a lot left in the tank, and we will see some amazing things, so I'm not down on him yet. I even said it in my review. What Luffy did is expected, what Law did is expected, what Kid did, I'm intrigued because I think some people are downplaying just how impressive it was for him to control all that metal and create basically a suit of armor and be able to control it that seamlessly. Guys, let's give Kid some time. We still don't know what his devil fruit can do. We don't even know the name of it. Kid could still be broken. However, I understand if you say he's been disappointing, but the main thing is that we haven't connected with the character and we're still waiting for the character to show and prove instead of tell and prove. But it's not over yet for Kid. He's on the clock, but it's not over yet. Give him some time because, again, for my headcanon, Kid indeed is a Yonko candidate. And post Wano, he will be getting that respect. One way or the other, but he has to show up. So I'm willing to give him some time. But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about Kid? Are you one of those useless Captain Kid? Or do you actually believe in Kid? Because I think right now, I'm probably in the middle. But guys, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you made it this far, now is the time to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thanks to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, again, like, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.